Again, this is the lab topology that we used, and have my PC here and the MAP here. And this is the configuration we just downloaded from the earlier. I'm just trying to switch between that screens, so difficult. So this is where you get the, can I just hide this? Okay. Configuration guide from earlier lab, and just paste into that mbox config. So I have enabled one instance, which is VLAN 10 with hotspot. So we have a VLAN 10 configure to interface ETH0. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the mbox portal. So if you type splash.ranksnet.com, it actually goes to that mbox portal by itself. The reason why you go to the local box itself is because there's a DNS rewrite. We rewrite this URL, splash.ranksnet.com, to an IP address, and this IP address mapped to the loopback interface. So essentially, if we try to, let's say from my PC, if I try to ping splash.ranksnet.com, you will resolve to that loopback IP address of the local mbox as per configuration here, which is pointing to loopback. So if I browse, by default, I will be, and if I browse this, it goes to the local box UI. So you log in with the default username and password, and everything is fresh, except I have just loaded in the AP configuration earlier. So I have the template config, the SSID map to VLAN 10. If you need to see more details of the configuration, is here. SSID map to VLAN 10. So the AP now is online, so it's working fine, except that configuration wasn't fully synced. There's probably some of the smaller settings that has not been synced, which is not relevant to this lab. We'll just go straight to configure the CMS. The focus for this live demo is to showcase the latest CMS and the features of the CMS. What they say in the earlier version of CMS, each template does one job. So for example, if that template is for a Facebook login, you can use that template just for Facebook login only. And although you can customize all the pictures and text of the Facebook, Facebook login template, you can customize everything else to your needs, but the functionality is only restricted to Facebook login only. Or if you have something doing ads or email registration or SMS registration, so all the features that we talked about earlier, all the possible login methods to enable user to access to our hotspot, to log into the captive portal, are in each of the features are in different templates. So what we do now is we have basically consolidated all the features in a backend template, so that it becomes available to every template you choose here. It's just a matter of settings. So essentially what you see here will be just layout only, rather design only. And the features can be turned on and off for each of the layout, depends on your requirements. So what I do now is I have configured this URL, VLAN 10. So I'm going to create a portal, and I'm going to use one of the template is, I think there's a template called retreat. So I'm going to use this. If you look at this, just create a URL portal, same as what is being used here, and you can preview that. So if you want to customize the layout, okay, look and feel, you just click on the template, the portal name, and then you just change the logo and text and background and everything else, and email, message, and it's just all in there. You can play with it yourself later. So the setting is where you define what feature to use for this portal. So let's see if we preview now. And there are a number of login methods that you can use once the user hooks onto the Wi-Fi, direct access, email. So if you click on the setting, you can actually say, go to the login methods to see, we have consolidated the various login methods in the backend setting so that you can choose to enable which one you want to use. So there are some other smaller options I will not go through here in details, but the user info here is basically what you want to capture from the user. This is specifically useful for self-registration. For example, if you want user to register using email or mobile number, you will ask them to enter some user info or the user details. So this, by ticking on the box to show, basically you specify what are the info you want users to put in when they sign up to the portal for free Wi-Fi. Or you also is to other options that you want to capture from Facebook. If user login with Facebook, we automatically capture the public profile details, but this checkbox will basically tell what are the details we want to save into the database. But of course, if we tick all of them, it doesn't mean we can capture all of them from Facebook public profile. It very much depends on what the user privacy setting to allow us to capture. So whatever is available from the profile, the user public private setting, and also whatever we have enabled here will be saved into the user database later on when they sign up or when they register. I'll go through that later on. So now we want to have a scenario that we want user to log in using Facebook or register with email. So when for our email registration, so we don't need direct access. If you turn this off, for example, that means they have to log in using either email or Facebook. So one of the unique feature of email sign up for our solution is, in most other cases, when the venue owner wants the user to sign up or to put in certain user info, particularly the email info, it's very hard to validate the email accuracy because they can put in any email. There was no way to validate that. Another problem they have in many cases we have is because there was no way to validate the email accuracy, we have to ask them to sign in using SMS so that we can send an SMS OTP to them, and then we know this is really the user who is trying to sign up because they can only log in with the OTP, SMS OTP. However, the SMS, there's a charge for SMS, so that's additional cost to the venue owner. So our email sign-up option basically will be able to validate the email accuracy because once you put in the email address details, you have to retrieve your email OTP. So one of the commonly asked questions is, if we don't have, if users don't have internet access, how do they check their email OTP? They're just trying to sign up only. So what we do here is, once they sign up, put in the details, we give them 10 minutes free internet access for them to retrieve the email OTP. After that, they have to log in with their given OTP. So that's basically one way to make sure whatever email they put in is accurate. If not, the most you can get is 10 minutes free access. So So there are other options like email, SMS registration, payment gateway integration, or PMS integration. And once you tick on this box, for example, you can put in your payment gateway provider info. There are other different social media integration as well. But for this purpose of the demo, I just focus on the email registration. So if you, for example, just now there was a premium Wi-Fi which is enabled with the payment gateway integration, which allows user to purchase premium Wi-Fi using credit card. So I have just turned it off. So now I'm going to turn off the Facebook login as well. For example, we don't need that. So this would be just purely email sign up. So this is basically how we have set the template. As you can see, it's very flexible. The layout is the same, or you can choose different layout from the templates. You can enable any feature that you want from the chosen layout. So now, and also for the email sign up, when you want to force the user to do email registration, there's two ways. One is the OTP, which will be randomly generated, send it to the user, and you can have a various combination of numeric and alphanumeric, and different how many digits that you want to, depend on the complexity and security policy of your organization. Or you can ask the user to define the password, something that they can remember. Okay, so I'll go through each of these in the next a few 10 minutes. So just try to go in a very quick way. I just want to make it simple, so I just want to have a numeric and just generate a numeric number. I'll just save. So now the portal is configured, and of course you want to customize. You click on the portal to customize, which is not what we try to cover in this lab. So now I will try to get my phone to connect to the SSID, which is linking to, let's say I turn off my mobile data, linking to VLAN 10. So getting an IP address from VLAN 10. So I see the login page and I have no account. So I just have to sign up. So I put in my email address, click on submit. So I'll get a message to say an activation link is sent to your email, and you need to follow the instruction to complete the registration. So this basically prevents them to put in any false email, because if you put in a false email, you will never be able to receive the activation link. So you will never be able to proceed to complete the registration and get permanent access. And so now if you do verify the connection status, I'm giving a temporary 10 minutes free access. So that's the most I can get if I do put in a false email. And also the system has security checking. The question is, what if people just keep on putting false email? Then they can every time they get 10 minutes, you add up, they can still enjoy long-term access. Maybe it's just troublesome, but they still get free access. The answer is we do have internal security checking. So we want to make sure the same device, you can only try a few times a day, so that, and you only have to try one time, and later, 15 minutes later, you can try another time. So it's not going to be easy for you to get free access that way. So you just have to put in the correct email address for the vendor owner to capture. So I'm getting my email. So I'm just being randomly generated a password, 4-digit password, and because we configure a numeric and 4-digit, so this is what the system generates for me. So I have to click here to complete the registration. Just gonna put a little bit forward. So just put in your, then this where you complete the registration. The email is, which has been validated, is automatically grayed out, and the password, which is random generated, is also being grayed out. And you click on submit. So that's basically how you get permanent access. You'll be, the first time you'll be auto logged in. So next time you want to log in again, you will have to, so now the session changed from 10 minutes to unlimited, depends on your system setting. So next time, for example, I want to log in again, I will just use the passcode, just refresh. So 10 minutes become, not available. That means it's unlimited. So I would just have to log in with the passcode that has been generated for me. Just copy, okay, 4692. Log in again. 4692. Okay, log in. So that's basically how you get access. So whatever email that you put in here, it has to be a valid email, and the user details are captured here. Okay, this is the registered email, and these are the information that is being captured. Because the CMS we configured earlier, we only capture the first name, last name, and email. So we didn't ask the user to put in a lot. So we didn't capture everything else. So it depends on, again, your preference. You can capture whatever you need. So another point I want to highlight is the when the user is registered, you'll be auto attached to a profile. Okay. So this profile tells us that this portion is actually is a NAS ID. So it's basically whatever in your configuration. Security hotspot VLAN 10 hotspot. If you have configured a hotspot ID, okay, this configuration here will replace this, okay, followed by the sign-in method. If you didn't configure that, this will be a combination of the host name and also the VLAN, the interface where the user comes from. Okay, so with this, you can basically start to you can set access control on the users. Okay, you can, instead of doing that for individual user, you do it on a profile basis. So let's say now I'll just create a profile with that name, and I will assign, okay, before I do anything, let's compare the difference. I'm going to delete this profile first. So it wasn't there in the first place. So if we do a speed test for the user, and because in the command line configuration, there wasn't anything to restrict the user access anyway. So it's just a very basic config. So let's see what we get here. So there's literally no speed restriction for this user, but in many cases, you will want to restrict them. You can do it on the command line level, or you can do it on the profile level. Command line level is a little bit harder, and also you need to restart the service. So you will usually want to do it at the profile level. And remember, each user is automatically attached to profile. If they all log into from the same SSID, they will have the same profile. So what you do is you just create a profile, and then you assign the access restrictions for that profile. Let's say I want to limit them to 2 MB only. Okay, 2 MB is 2000 K. Okay, so now if you go back to the user again, I'll have to log out and log in again. (4692). Just log in. So I will do another run of speed test. So I'm basically straight away suppressed to whatever speed you set on the profile. That's basically how it works. It's very straightforward for you to manage and control the user. And I'm going to switch back the screen. So you can also create groups based on the profile or the user info that you capture. So the next thing is in the next 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I want to elaborate another option of enabling user registration. So this time I will use, because the random generate passcode, even if it's short, it can be still difficult for the user to remember. So I will allow them to define their own password. And also I want to capture a few more info about the user when you do the registration. For example, gender, okay? So I just want to capture that. Maybe other things, whatever you want to enable the user. So now I'm going to log out. So I'm going to switch the screen to my phone, log out again, sign up. Okay, so a new registration is been activation link is sent to your email. You're giving 10 minutes free access. So here it shows 10 minutes. So I'm going to check my email again. So I get an email. So this time, if you compare it with the earlier system generated password, I was giving a password. This time I'm not giving a password. So you actually give me a link to complete my registration. And in my registration, I will have to put in my details, and also I can define my own login password. So I just put a simple password. So whatever you can remember, whatever you feel comfortable, that's the beauty of it, being able to define your password. So success, that's basically, you know, how it works. So now I'm able to define my own password, and I get permanent access. Okay, so if refresh from 10 to unlimited. So what I do now is I will log in with the password that I've defined just to make sure. And this is exactly working as what I wanted. I just give 40 just now to find my password. So yeah, basically everything works perfectly. And from a user perspective, it's very easy. You can define your password. You can have a simple password, something that you can remember. As a venue owner, whatever you capture, you make sure is a valid user with a valid email address. So that when you run campaigns, you know, email or SMS campaigns, you are very sure that the message will deliver to the end user. So that's basically how the email registration works without having to use your SMS registration, which does incur quite significant cost for public hotspot. That's pretty much for today. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again next week.